All right. Well, hello, Frederick. Already here. And we redeemed a reward I didn't even know that I had. Stretch. I mean, it's not a bad idea. Let's see. Oh, that was good. I'm used to, when I'm working, to be getting up every 30 minutes or so and stretching. I have a timer set for that, which I do not have during streams, so that is a good reminder. Hello, Frederick. Welcome, welcome. It's Keeb Stream Day, a lovely Tuesday. And we are swiftly approaching the end of my build idea list, as we are getting closer and closer to August. Not August. What am I talking about? October 22nd, which is when I will be doing my keyboard event, which are mostly packed up down here on the floor now. All of my various and sundry boards for that. A few outliers, including what we're going to tackle tonight, the Pixelspace Capsule, which was a very early keyboard acquisition for me. It was like the fourth keyboard I ordered or so, I think. Because I had the Tofu 65, and I got a Mode 80. And then I think I ordered the Protozoa Foundation and then ordered the capsule, and the capsule ended up coming before then, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been in the collection for a bit, and I haven't used it a ton. When I got it, I foamed it up. I foamed the dickens out of it, and also got it with an FR4 plate because I didn't know what that was or how it would sound or anything. So instead I have a new custom plate for it, a PC plate, and we're going to play around with the switches and try some different keycap profiles too. I'll have a poll for us of some different keycaps to test out, including DCS, which I have admired but never used. But I have some. I have DCS Intro Wob right here, which I thought we might try out. The only thing that I think might screw up a little bit is the bottom row modifiers, I think. But we'll see. Because I got it with the intention of putting it on the event horizon, which has a different bottom row layout. But we'll see. What are those? Keycaps. But it's DCS profile. These are from Signature Plastics. It is more or less their take on Cherry, because it's a sculpted cylindrical profile, as opposed to SA or DSS, which is like what the Awesome keycaps are, which are the spherical profile as opposed to the cylindrical profile. Yes, DCS. That is the profile name. They're made by Signature Plastics in Washington State. They use some really pretty funky Gorton legends as well, which is very fun. Anyway, so we might use those. We might also use Cap White on Black, which is new-ish. Or I also have GMK 1520 that I think would look nicely as well. All have some, except for Wob, have some yellow influence that might work well with the board. But there's also some fun keycap news recently, or keyboard hobby news. Let me pull up my list here. Some fun stuff that is either coming soon or has just launched recently that has caught my eye that I've found pretty interesting. Let me switch over to... one was the ETAR 87 mechanical keyboard kit, which is pretty stunning. Not so much in... Like, the design is pretty simple and restrained, which I do like. But it also sounds pretty good. Like, from the couple of streams that I've caught. Alex's stream and... Who was it? Was it Diego who built this, maybe? but it's an F-rowless full-size keyboard that uses a pretty fun like bottom mount mechanism, where it actually will use like these kind of, I think they're acrylic perhaps, but some plates along the edges that then have essentially kind of a tadpole type system built into them, and that's what the assembly rests on, which reminds me kind of like what the Keycult Zero did more recently. Like, that's more of my experience, but apparently it sounds really good, especially for something as big as this. Hello, Keyboard Dad. Welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. Anyway, this is in group buy right now. It looks really good. It has a fun weight engraving and stuff like that. Comes in a variety of different layouts as far as not like numpad position, but as far as like win key versus win keyless and plates and various things like that. It seems pretty interesting. I'm keeping my eye on it. I have my keyboard budget wish list has been ballooning, though, as I've been keeping track of everything. Another thing that is really exciting that is coming soon is GMK Windbreaker, which I have hoped beyond hope for a while to ever find a set of DCS Windbreaker that someone was going to part with, but they're going to be running a GMK version of it starting October 10th, which is super exciting. Here's the base kit. P-Wade's back. He's doing it. It wasn't like somebody else picked it up with his blessing or anything. He's back. He's doing it. Some fun novelties. Of course, we don't know the pricing yet, but it's going to be novel keys, of course, and some of your normal expected players, prototypists and stuff, etc. But it looks like it's going to be very fun. So yeah, that'll run until November 9th, October 10th to November 9th. And I'm going to have to get in on that because I've been looking for Windbreaker for so long. Ad break? Yeah. Well, it's got to run. I can only get rid of them so much. That's so people will subscribe. Anyway, Windbreaker, very exciting. PBS Crispin is coming soon. I think it's only an IC currently, but you may get it. You may enjoy this, Frederick. It is a PBS profile set, but it's based off of course, Apple keyboards. I'm trying to think if they have a base kit, a 40s kit. Oh, that's Ortho. I got Ortho and 40s and stuff like that. There's Ortho. And the Altair and all that goodness. The Mac Mods kit. It does seem tempting. I do enjoy PBS as a profile. I've only used Max Voltar's PBS Classic. But since it's a uniform profile, they're all basically going to feel the same. And I have Aperture Priority shipped on the way to me right now from Canon Keys, which we probably would have been using tonight if it had gotten here, because it would have looked good on the board we're going to do, and I also have some plans for it elsewhere. But that's coming soon. Fill out that interest check if you're interested. Looks pretty interesting. I've also been keeping my eye on some newer smaller batch SA DCS sets and stuff like that, and SA Selectresque just came into group buy as well, which looks... I like this blue and this pink together a lot, and it's based off of old Selectric typewriters. More than anything, though, I love if it's going to come up, the Interrobang keycap, I think is really cool, which I think you can also kind of get solo, maybe through Signature Plastics. But anyway, something I've got my eye on as well, because I do like SA quite a bit as a profile. But what else we got coming out pretty soon? These are things that I tracked down in Discord, so I don't have a link for them just yet, but well, actually I could find a couple images. The Beetle 60, which is a keyboard that Bub has been working on. Bub, designer of like Cherry Flower Shop and GMK Panels, has been working on a 60% keyboard that is win keyless which, you know, isn't exactly my bag. Let me see if I can, let me grab a picture real quick. It looks really cool though. And I like Bub as a designer. I like the stuff he's been working on. Let me hide some windows so I can actually have some room. There we go. We'll just throw this up in the window here. Woo! Not that window, perhaps. Yes, remove that. Let's go to the dust cam and get this into the proper place. Boop-a-dip, boop, boop. There we go. So there you can get an idea of it. There where it's a nice aluminum case with dyed polycarbonate tops, which look really cool. And then it kind of has a brass weight inside. Yeah. Again, I don't know that I would ever be able to use this because I can't use Win keyless. My muscle memory for Mac mods is too strong. So maybe if I was like writing and not needing to use any kind of design software or something, I could get away with it. But yeah, we'd see. But that's going to be coming soon. I think sometime in October is what they said. That's going to be vendored through Novel Keys, which is very fun. I like those colors a lot. And then I think they also just announced earlier on the Novel Keys Instagram about Dark Kaiju starting on October 3rd. That's it, October 3rd through the 31st. There's going to be a rerun of Vanilla Kaiju, and then Dark Kaiju is going to be coming, which is pretty cool. So I want to get Dark Kaiju because I have plans that I think I've mentioned before on the stream about doing a Dark Kaiju, Mecha Kaiju kind of split keyboard hybrid thing. So that is exciting. And that is keyboard news that is on my radar for this period of time. So let's dig into some actual keyboard stuff. I had to get my news out too because I'm not going to be streaming next week because I'll be traveling for work. So, the Pixelspace Capsule. This came out in, I think the group buy for it was in 2022. And then it was delivered in 2023 originally. And it is very much a product of its time, not unlike, I guess the Navi is a little bit later, but it reminds me somewhat of what we built last week because it is a thinner PCB with flex cuts. From back in the day. But I do still love this box so much. That's why one of the reasons why I've kept it. And I've also thought about selling it. But as I hinted back when I first started streaming, this is what I want to turn into a board that is an homage to the Panic Playdate. So, I don't know that I'll ever get rid of it, but we'll see. I've still got some old bags floating around in here. But then, the keyboard itself, which still has some old Durock stabs in it. And the FR4 plate that we will be replacing. Took all this in. So, we will definitely be needing some shims, because it is a thinner PCB. And I picked up some Stabies on a whim because I've never tried them. So I have these. We may give those a go and replace these Durock stabs and see how we like it. But yeah, this is the Pixelspace Capsule, kind of a fun rounded wedge. It's kind of like the Boop, I guess, in that way a little bit. There's some shared design language, I think, with kind of this rounded off wedge. And then it has this metal rounded pill kind of in the back and the port, little Pixelspace branding. Right here, we actually get a little LED strip. And so that's one reason why I thought it would work well with the Playdate, because it kind of mirrors some of the gunmetal similar to the handle of the Playdate. Whoop, over there. The handle and the screws. And then the top button on the Playdate also has that LED light in it that lights up when you have like a system update or new games available. Hello. This thing is slippery. So, that's been part of the plan. And actually, I've also got all of these color samples that I've been meaning to double check against the keyboard. I got every single yellow and purple that Yuzu has for this purpose. For figuring out what would be a good match. So let's see if we can do a little color matching really quick. We can try to find whatever the closest to these is. A little bit. I think from previous investigation I knew that that one was a little too bright. That one actually is not too far off from the Playdate. This actually might be the winner. Right away. Yellow 22. And some were a little bit lighter, some are a little bit more orangey. Quite a bit orangey. Or too brown or too green. It's good to have some of these too, because I do have some ideas that I want to do for some keycap sets in the future, so it'd be nice to have some color reference even if I don't go with Yuzu. I've also got some of those stock GMK colors too in ABS. Yeah, like N6 would be a really nice match. So it's kind of like trying to figure out what's the closest I can get with some of these dye-sept colors. Probably not a super perfect match. If there was something kind of in between 22 and 23, that would be nice. But anyway, something I'll be working on more on my own time. And I'll bring some of those samples along to my keyboard events so that people can see some of the process that goes into it. I'm going to go ahead and pull out yellow 22 though. Might be the closest we're going to get with Yuzu. I also want to get some of the signature plastic color rings because I have some ideas for a DCS set as well. Alright, let's dig in. So we're going to take out some of this foam, get a new plate, get new stabs, and then we can see what keycaps we think might be a good fit. This is some hidden screws kind of tucked down in there. Not that one. One more over here. Okay. So now what? Oh, there we go. I was trying to remember how this whole thing worked. There we go. Whoop. Bottom case. Let's set that right over here. Got a layer of case foam. Got a little JST here. Okay, case foam, PE foam, and plate foam on this bad boy. Flex cuts. Yeah, no extra layout options on this at all. They didn't even give us a stepped caps. Maybe that wouldn't have worked so well with the flex cuts to have too many options. Kind of Swiss cheese it up, you know? And our plate with little gasket socks. Alright, be gone, foam. We'll see if we need you at all later. But might keep the PE, because I do enjoy PE foam, typically. Let's see, there's the funky little daughter board tucked away in the top frame there. Hopefully that will never break, because I think that is entirely unique. And then there's a little bit of a LED blocker to keep light spill out. And then a little diffuser on the side there. Nice. We'll set the top frame there. Let's go ahead and take off our socks. They seem to be same thickness on both sides, so I don't need to keep track of right way up or down. Put all these in a stack over here. They don't bounce off the table first. Let's see. Might increase the lighting here now that the sun is going down. There we go. Okay. Our old friend Duroc V2s, I think. You can see a lot of the lube has kind of melted off in different places. So let me get that ready. And then I don't know, I am not familiar with Stabies. I've never used them. So if they're terrible, I do have some backups. Oh. The wires are stuck in foam. Interesting. Housings. And screws. So we'll need 3 2Us, and I guess we're stuck at a 6.25, correct? No 7U option. One, two, three. Actually, let me check this wire and see. Well, it seems pretty straight. The power of foam. And screws and washers. Housings. So let's put extra wires we don't need back in. Okay, so we will need 2 and 2 and 2. we go. These little screws still in this tray, and I don't know what they're from. I guess not anything important if I haven't noticed what these are supposed to go to. I'll put them right there just so I don't keep second guessing myself. So I won't need all of these washers, but go ahead and get them in place here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I should only need 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, let's take out the old. Push everything up a little bit more so it's more visible. Also, another thing, if I had thought ahead at the time, didn't know about this in the hobby much, though, when I originally ordered this, but this PCB is so unique in terms of, I mean, look at this, with this one weird little flange over here. It's got the LED kind of on this other little sprig over here. Oh, a little bit of spam. Hello there. Let's deal with you. We will ban you. Bye-bye. Yeah, it's just such an interesting, it's beautiful to look at, but it's like, there is nothing regular about this PCB in terms of like ever trying to replace it. So, something I tend to do now on boards that especially have a more unique type of setup is to order 2 PCBs so that I'll have a backup in case one of them bites the dust. I had all the little shims on that old Duroc stabs. So let's now clean a little bit of lube off the PE foam as well. Alright, PE foam, set you aside as well for the moment. Let's ditch these Duroc stabs. And the hardware. let's look at putting in some new shims. Let's see, let me get my tweezers. And have a drink. All right. I'm getting my tweezer practice in, preparing for working with EC components and Dynapacks coming up, and silence rings and all that. Getting ready. The flex cuts do make this a little more challenging because there's not a ton of real estate on the PCB in between these rows. It should still work okay. Actually, also I meant to check on how these housings are built. Whoops. Just so we can keep them straight. Because they don't actually have any cutouts in them like you would normally expect. Or a notch to know. I think they go like that though. Yeah, okay. Just wanted to double check that in my own brain before we got too far. I've been spoiled by higher quality stabs that the stems can only go in one way into the housings. Helps cut down on user error for sure. If you don't use those small stabs that you were attaching with tweezers, what happened to the keyboard? These just mean that the stabilizers would not sit flush with the PCB and would cause problems. They would be angled wrong, they wouldn't seat correctly, the stabilized keys probably wouldn't work, and they would rattle a bunch. Because this PCB is 1.2 millimeters thick, whereas a standard MX style PCB is 1.6. So I haven't seen 1.2 used as much in the hobby recently. It was more of a fad, I feel like, a few years ago at one point, to add flexibility to the keyboard. To give it a bouncier feel because it's thinner, and they would also add, as you can see, like all of these cutout lines, all of these flex cuts, so that, I mean, maybe this will show here. Whoop. So like you can like bend portions of the alphas will bend and bounce and be more flexible while you type. So because of that, a lot of, you can buy them separately, but also a lot of stabilizer sets come with shims like this. So either like sheets or pads or something like this that you can use to shore up that 0.4 millimeter difference between this kind of PCB and a standard PCB, so that the stabilizers should function as expected. So you're adding a tiny bit of thickness to the PCB where the stabilizers clip in. And some shims can also be used as force brake pads, which is nice in a pinch if your keyboard needs that for acoustic sound rattling purposes. All right, so we got that done. Let us... Actually, let me double check. I got those. Oh, I need one more set. One more set for the enter key. Did that answer the question? Okay, Frederick. Does that make sense? I had to do the same when we built the Navi last week because it also has a thinner PCB. Some manufacturers also will make stabilizers specifically for thinner PCBs, like TX makes 1.2 mil stabs, so others may as well. Those are the only thinner ones that I've used, made specifically for a thinner PCB. All right. We've got, oh, don't need a syringe yet. Brush. Grease. And Krytox. Yes, because the board isn't as thick as standard boards use as stabs. Well, these aren't stabs. These are just called shims because they are essentially creating a little bit of extra distance for the stabilizers to clip into, but close, yeah. The stabilizers would not work otherwise. They wouldn't work correctly. It would be quite messy and loud, and probably get bound up. Yeah, I know there's a lot of weird words, a lot of weird terms that are easy to scramble up. I still do. Once I start getting into electrocapacitive parts, which I would like to do, when Dynacap launches, I'll have a whole bunch of new terms I'll have to learn what they mean, because there's like housings and sliders and domes and rings and lots of stuff that I'm not as accustomed to as an MX style person. But I've been watching a lot of streams. I've been reading up on it. So then hopefully, if I get an EC conversion kit for something or pick up a Topro board and want to mod it, I will have a little better idea of what I'm doing. Or at least what the different parts are supposed to do. A lot of parts and terms? Yeah. And that's not even counting... I mean, I'm just more accustomed with MX style switches, but there's also, you know, there's ALP switches, there's all the electrocapacitive stuff, Topra stuff, there's Hall effect switches and all that, you know. There's a lot of different ways to do the same thing. MX is definitely the most popular currently, or the most ubiquitous, but I think with Dynacap we'll see a rise of, especially between non-Topra electrocapacitive stuff, will make it a little bit more accessible to the lay hobbyist, which I think is a good thing. We'll see if I want to spring for a conversion kit for the Cloud 9 once that comes out. Yeah, and all of these like parts and terms and stuff is one of the reasons why, like when I bought this board, I didn't know what I wanted. I was like, FR4 plate? Sure, I don't know what that means. And like, buying switches. I was like, I don't know what any of this means. Tactile? Okay. It's made, it has a palm stem? I don't know. So, why I enjoy doing events and stuff. To be able to have people try things out. And hopefully help them identify to some extent. Like, I know in my professional graphic design life, I've called myself an icon sommelier before because iconography in digital design and physical product design is so often paired with specific things for specific reasons and needs to kind of function that way. And I like to try to think to myself also as a keyboard sommelier in some ways with people that I know personally and being able to be like, okay, what do you like about this? What do you not like about this? See if we can narrow in on those specific things and kind of like find a good pairing for you as far as like the type of sound you like, the type of feel you like, how high, you know, the angle height of keyboards, the height of keycaps, the sorts of things you're looking for. See if we can get that sort of thing figured out. And that's the kind of thing you can only do in person to some degree because you got to feel it, you got to hear it, you got to see it. So meetups are cool. I say that. I still have yet to go to one. But I will. I mean, I guess I could consider my event that I've done at my co-working space a meetup in a very loose sense. Oh, whoops, I gotta put these in. But really, it's been like me talking and showing things off as opposed to your traditional keyboard meetup where everybody shows up and brings their own boards and has a bunch of stuff on display and all that. This one will probably be a little bit closer to that though, because we've got keyboards from at least three people, including me, and not just me. Which reminds me, we got to build that, if you want to have it at the event, we should build that petrichor before then, Frederick. But we also don't have to rush it, if you'd rather hold off. Don't need to have it at the event. I would love for you to build it on stream sometime after the event. Sure, we can do it after the event. Content! You're absolutely right. Oh, there we go. After the event, I'll be hard up for content, I feel like, because I will have tweaked a bunch of these boards, rebuilt a lot of my collection for it, and I'm just waiting on other boards to come in now. Although I have been trying to put myself out there as a potential content reviewer person for some upcoming boards. I've been like, hey, I'll stream it. Haven't got any responses. I am small time in that regard. But I'm going to keep trucking. Try to be consistent as much as I can. Maybe eventually we'll be able to do a pre-release review stream of some kind. That'd be really fun. Did I not get enough housings out? I'm just now realizing. Was I a fool? I think I may have been. Yeah, I totally didn't get housings for these. What the heck? No one was gonna tell me? Would you consider yourself to be an emissary for the keyboard hobby? Yeah, probably. I mean, I do try to talk it up. And, the joys of it. Don't forget you got that other keyboard. Trying to think of what you're referring to. Could have been so much fun. Let the bit right. Don't forget the housings. Yeah. Well, like I got the correct number of wires out, but for some reason I didn't. I don't know. So that means I also didn't get enough screws and washers out, because for some reason I was thinking it was only 6 stabs on this thing. 6 sets of stabs. I'm trying to think of what this other keyboard is that you were referring to. We got the Event Horizon. We got the DNWorks 7. I think those are the only 2 that I have actually ordered currently that haven't come. One's almost done, fingers crossed, Event Horizon. And the other is currently being anodized. I feel like I need to check my list to make sure I'm not completely blanking on something that I've ordered. Oh, the Manta. Of course. I did order the Manta. But that won't be out for a bit. But there are some other things coming up that I want to get. I want to get the Float 65 when it comes back out again. Mike has said that that'll come back in some fashion. I still need this. I want to get Pangea Mini extras when those come in a few weeks. I'm sad I missed that one. I wasn't even really... I'm ashamed to admit. I wasn't even really aware of Bowl as a keyboard designer until... what was it? The Motif 65? And even then, like, I didn't really register the name until the Manta came out. And then I saw all these past projects, and I was like, man, I've been missing out. These are sweet. So many cool combos with the Pangea Mini, which won't be quite as robust in that regard for the extras, but it'll be some kind of component combos that Bowl really likes that'll be available. At least that's what he said in a stream a couple days ago. Alright, so I will need to get a couple more of these screws and stuff out. Oops. Alrighty. I think we'll go stick with the PE foam. Let's just get one of these screwed in and see how we do. Oh, interesting. One of the first screw-in stabs I've seen that doesn't use a Phillips. Good on you, Stabies. Another downside of the flex cuts. A little runoff channel for errant screws. Come on, buddy. There we go. All right, we sitting flush. Everything good? Good. Shims are doing their job. It's also so much easier to buy shims than to try to buy specialty stabilizers that will only work in one thing, in my opinion. TX. But I'm also off the TX grind anyway, because they have not worked super well for me in the last few batches that I've gotten. So they've been retired from rotation. What? Surely not me, Reggie. How you doing? All right, what is happening here? Why are we not cooperating? Ah, there we go. That was weird. Just got hung up on nothing? Huh. We're building a Pixelspace Capsule, Reggie. A blast from my past in the hobby. One of my earliest boards that I got. And it has been largely untouched for years. Currently working on getting my work computer all set back up. Somehow the TCP/IP stack corrupted. I had to reinstall Windows. Boo! I have not had to troubleshoot anything on Windows since 2009 or so. When I worked at a historical maritime museum in my hometown after graduating college. And the rest of the employees were, let's say, a little more elderly. And so I was the only one who knew how to use the computer. So any computer-related anything, that was my job. Luckily, I had a meeting this afternoon. The crazy thing was everything worked fine for the first half of the morning. They just out. That is weird. Sorry I had to deal with that. No bueno. Unexpected tech issues are always pretty gnarly. Booted into Ubuntu network worked fine, so it had to be a software OS issue. Oh, there's a problem. This one. There we go. Dug up part of the shim. Now I think we're good. I'm glad you got everything working back now, hopefully. Because it's not quite 5 for you yet, is it? You're like mountain time? Oop. Well, maybe the Phillips heads would have been better for these screws. Stabies. Well, they are magnetic. It is a little tough to actually get purchase in here. Yeah, mountain time. Oh, 5:30. That's right. It's only 2 hours different. 2 hours different from me. Time zones. Psh, wild. All right. Let's go ahead and get a... I'm going to be in Central Time next week for work. And it's like never enough of a time change to actually mess anything up because it's only 1 hour, but it's enough to like wake up earlier than I really want to and get annoyed about it. It's like just enough. Be like, well, guess I'll get up. I am Eastern Time. I live in Western Michigan, but all of Michigan except, I want to say, a very small portion of the Western Upper Peninsula is in Eastern Time. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's true. All that's between me and Central Time is Lake Michigan. Come on. You little doo-doo. Doo-doo screw. Goodness sakes. Maybe we need to try a slightly smaller bit here. If we can get in with a little more... Well, that's not going to turn at all. So there seems like it almost feels like it needs to have a bit in between these two hex sizes to actually get a little bit more purchase in there. But so now I know about stabies. But I'm going to order like 4 more night stabs soon, so then I won't have this problem. Right on. I'm also trying to get a few more pullers finished up before the meetup in a couple weeks. I did 3 in black walnut last night. Ooh! Sounds beautiful. I do enjoy black walnut. All right. I think we are looking pretty good. Everything is sitting on the shims correctly. Yes, 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 yes. Good. How many pullers are you planning on bringing in all? Do you have separate checked luggage for keycap pullers? Well, I imagine they're very lightweight, so they shouldn't take, and they are also more compact. Okay. So what I'm thinking of using some of these buddies, which I've been planning on using for my monospace, or typeface monospace. But the keycaps I've been wanting to pair them all with haven't come in yet. So I think I might use some here. Maybe we'll do a little keycap testing here. Let's test it with some DCS. Just counted, I have 31 locked and loaded. That's awesome. Let's see, let's get some tester keys here. Also, I like the zigzag double shot pattern that a lot of DCS has inside. That's kind of fun. Fun from your usual GMK matrix. Or different enough. It's fun. Where is enter? Caps lock. What do we got here? That's part of the numpad. Just get all these big boys out of here so I can see what I'm doing. There's the numpad enter. Oh, here's something. Enter. Where's backspace? Backspace. ISO enter. A different shift. Hello, Frank. Welcome. And Tyler, how dare you be late? Were you commuting? Also have a half dozen volume knobs for you encoder boys. Ooh. I have never used a normal keyboard with an encoder. I guess I had one on my little Figma Creator Micro thing, but I sold that because I've never used it. I don't know where my backspace is gone. I want to test it. Well, we'll make do with what we got. Thanks for the sub. I didn't even notice that. Is the build command not working? I didn't see anything pop up. Let me double check that. Thought I had it on correctly. Huh, it says it's turned on. Yeah. But now it's not doing anything. Let's try turning it off and on again. I'm using Streamlabs for what it's worth. Not Stream Elements or whatever other people use. It was working fine, and now when somebody besides me tries to use it, it's busted. No, I'm on the cloud bot. I know how it works. It says it's on. But he's not working. Oh, deactivate and reactivate? Just gotta restart. Ah, thank you. Sorry, I was dismissive there for a second. I've had other people trying to backseat run shit in my stream before. Let's try it now. Ta-da. Thanks, Frank. Sorry I got spicy. All right. We'll check these stubs real quick. Make sure they are functioning as expected before we put on the plate. Oh, that is a giant ass shift. Well, thanks for the sub. I super appreciate that. Thank you. Good, good. This is just a 2U. I will trust that that is functioning as expected. The spacebar was what I was more concerned about. I was also concerned I didn't get any banana bars out of this DCS set, which was fantastic, because I unboxed my second Fallen Awesome DSS set the other day, and one of the space bars was warped all to hell. Didn't know I got affiliated. Well done. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've been affiliated for a little bit. Been working my way up. Consistency has been key, which has been cool. Been streaming every week for a few months now, which has been a ton of fun. All right. Playtime. New plate. We are ditching the FR4 plate from years gone by. We got ourselves a nice new PC plate from Hype. Ooh, Hype! Yes, I got so many custom plates from Hype over the past couple months. It's been fantastic. My favorite is still the custom red alu he did for my Neo 65, which looks so good. All right. We're going to fork it. We'll start down here. Make sure this is actually lining up correctly and being more visible. Come on. There we go. Yeah, so these are one of the HMX film series. These are the, whatever they are, KO 200s. Which I think will be fun in this. We're kind of going for a black and yellow vibe today. And they'll work nicely with both thematically and chromatically with aperture priority when it comes, which is one of my goals. But they just got the Salvin Artisans and everything is shipped out finally, so should have that in hand Saturday or so. I have to decide if I want to try to take the Monospace to West Virginia with me. I don't know if it'll fit in my luggage. Is that the film theme switch? That is one of them, yeah. They've got a couple other colors. There was like a green and white one and also like a gray and purple one, I think. That were more of the film themed ones. Let's go over here. And I'm a sucker for yellow, so I picked these up as soon as they were available. Meetup? Yes. Yeah, I'm going to the Novel Keys meetup. My first meetup ever, which is very exciting. I hosted a keyboard event at my co-working space a couple of years ago where it was basically just me talking about the hobby and like letting people try out what boards I had, different components and whatnot. But my first one, how exciting. Yeah, thanks. It is exciting. I am very excited. Couldn't go last year, conflicted with work. Yeah, there were 3 different meetups I was going to go to last year. I was going to go to Novel Keys. It conflicted with work. I was going to go to the Detroit meetup. And then the date for that changed, and I couldn't go because of something else. And then I was going to go to Chicago, and that also didn't work out. And then this year, there wasn't a Detroit meetup. And it's just been a whole kerfuffle. A whole thing. And next year, what is it? They're not going to do the Windy City keyboard meetup because it's going to be a different one. I did snag a ticket to the NK experience. I will be there. 100%. Let me remind myself. Ba-da-da-da. Oh, what's that meetup that's going to be in Chicago next year? That got voted on. I can't remember the name. But that's going to usurp Windy City Keyboard meetup next year because they're going to be helping organize it. So hopefully I can go to that. Awesome. Oh yeah, you're excited too, Tyler? Yeah, I know we've talked about that. It'd be awesome if we could both go. I'll have to know when it's happening. As long as it's like not around my kid's birthday, or if it's not happening during the beginning of April or the beginning of October, those are the time. Because those are always work trips. So if we can avoid that, should be good. Haven't traveled outside of Utah for any meetup, but I absolutely love going out to West Virginia for the Novel Keys meetup. I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. I'm very excited. And like, Novel Keys is like top tier vendor for me in the US, so. Top recommended when I tell people to go buy keycaps or something. NK and DK I go to. That's true. Divinity has never let me down. And I've really been enjoying buying stuff from Bowl recently, too. He's been so fast. Like, it helps that he lives in Wisconsin now, and it's like, it takes like a day to get stuff to me. Like, around the lake. The fact that it's kind of hard to get to is by design. It's very intimate and casual at all the same time. You're going to love Morgantown. Yeah. I mean, this is something I talk a lot about when I've done design workshops or like talk about design in other capacities, but it's basically like embracing limitations and constraints and realizing that they're your friend and there to help you is huge. And I think it's the same with intentionality with social situations like this. Like, small by design is a huge asset. He's awesome too. Yeah. Yeah, I've been enjoying watching more of his streams recently. Very chill dude. Extremely fast keyboard builder and typist. It's a little unnatural, I feel like. How many boards are you bringing? I think the limit is 3, so I'm planning on bringing 3. the stream that I'll do probably the week before the meetup will probably be like asking for help figuring out what to take. I have one. Well, I don't know. I say that I keep waffling. I think for sure I want to bring my Duo 60 with extended 2048 on it, because it's one of the builds I've been most proud of recently, and it's using Novel Keys keycaps. Thought about the Font Awesome Edition mode because I helped create it to some extent, and it's a little more unique than your run-of-the-mill sonnet. Might be more interesting. I'd hope to have the event horizon before then, but I don't think that's going to happen. Unless... because Max is coming to the meetup. So if I can convince him to bring my board with him from Salvin... that would be... I might actually try to ask him if that'd be a possibility. If it's done. Be like, hey, can you just pack my Event Horizon with you and bring it to West Virginia? There we go. I mean, I am Event Horizon number 001, so I mean, maybe I can get some special treatment out of it. We'll see. All right. Let's get rid of... Well, hold on to that for a second. And... I guess I actually have to put it in the top first, because that's where the JST goes in. Damn, really, that's cool. Yes, I was the first to fill out the raffle form. And then I won. And so I got number 001. Which is pretty cool. And these are the keycaps that I'm actually planning on using on the Event Horizon, but maybe we'll use them today. I might throw up a poll, because I have a few different options here. We can see what we feel like. So this has to connect to here. This little itty bitty JST. Oh wait, we need to put on the socks. Put on your socks before leaving the house. So yeah, we'll be bringing the Event Horizon, unless a miracle happens. So I don't know what I would do for my third board. And I would get out some to look at right now, but they're all packed up over there. But I was trying to think of some of the more interesting, unique stuff. The Typeface Monospace might be interesting, but again, it's too big. I would love to take the Class 413, again, too big. It like weighs as much as my luggage. But we shall see how I feel. Maybe the new Neo 65 that I redid all with the Super Red build. Because it does sound great. And Bub will be there, I think, and using panels. It's going to be kind of fun. I think you're only going to bring one board, just not sure what it will be yet. Ooh. Yeah, that's tough. See, well, interesting. Maybe that's another circumstance of limiting yourself, breeding creativity, I guess. Embracing the limitation of only one, because then you really have to zero in on a favorite. Let's see, are we sitting in there correctly? I think so. We got the LED up on the blocker. I think we're all tucked in cozy there. Okay, let's make sure this JST is connected. Okay. Do you have a particular layout or form factor that you know you want to bring, or is it just got to decide between promote my homies and look how cool this board is? Yeah, exactly. That's what I was like. I wanted to bring like abstract and panels. I wanted to bring, you know, terminal. Like a lot of these or you know, something that Riley made, or like my souped up super yellow, proto yellow classic TKL. You know, yeah, exactly. I feel you. I feel that problem. So I want to try to get somebody to sign the keycaps, all that kind of stuff. All right. Maybe before I screw this shut, might want to see how some of this sounds. Unless we'll see if screwing it shut really alters the sound profile drastically. But how did I get lube on this spacebar? That's gnarly. Must have had a little bit on top of the stab. Oh. Maybe I'll bring my super custom stacked acrylic kaiju board to help Neff advertise round 3. Yes, you should. Dark kaiju. Well, I think I mentioned this earlier because I ran through round 3 in Dark Kaiju and when I did some keyboard hobby news at the top of the stream. But I have my Neo Ergo, which is also in the running for going because it looks great with Mars Cadet. But I want to do half of it Mecha Kaiju and half of it Dark Kaiju and do like a split personality kaiju thing on there, which I think would be really cool. So I definitely want to get in on the Dark Kaiju. Okay, so let's think about, let me screw this shut. And then let's think about keycaps. Which color of Ergo? I have the silver Ergo with a gold kernel in the back. And so that ended up looking really, and the gold weight on the bottom. And it looks really good because I'm using the solar panel novelties as the column on the left side. So it's pretty fun. I think that may have just clinched it. I may bring the Ergo. They just announced a couple hours ago they're adding silver and black variants to the ETAR 87 group buy. I'm trying to decide if I should switch to silver or keep the dark gold. Oh, I missed that. We did talk about the ETAR 87 as well, Tyler, at the beginning, before you got here. Silver and black. Man, those go with everything. But the dark gold is very attractive. Should I get one of the other colors and then we can just trade? Silver Proto, the Diego belt looked so good, but I love the gold. I think I missed Diego's stream. I only watched Alex build. Or maybe I did see some of it and thought that maybe it was only silver because it was a prototype, but now they're offering it, so that's pretty cool. I do love a silver board. I've only got 2 silver boards. I think the Universe and the Neo Ergo. So classy. Okay. Let's clean up some of this stuff. I was a little annoyed that the protos were in colors they didn't offer. Yeah. And I think too, actually I still have the page pulled up. They finally got some photos added to the group buy page, right? And not just these weird renders. Okay, so are these photos from Diego's build then? Because I noticed in passing earlier that they had finally added some actual photos to the page, which I think is good. And not like the worst renders of all time. I mean, they're not, I mean, they give you an idea of the layout, but they're like not a polished render by any means. Okay, good to know. So yeah, so they've got the... Oh, are they not? Oh, they will be at... Oh, now I refreshed the page. So this happened just since I had opened the page before the stream, where they've got black and silver. Okay. Oof. Yeah, that's really good. I do have a black board in this layout already. Well, Southpaw numpad. But, it does really look good in black. They're gonna make me buy another FRL TKL numpad, aren't they? FRL full size. Love silver and brass together. Yeah, that's really good. Oh, you shouldn't have told me, Tyler. I had convinced myself not to buy that board. All right, let's talk keycaps. So I have a few different options I think might work well here. We've got GCS WOB with a big ass enter. Might be kind of fun. I've also got MT New Susu, which has more of a very light cream kind of legend color. Don't know how well that would go with the yellows, but we could see. And then I've got GMK 1520 with some nice yellow accents in there that might go well with this. So I kind of have an idea of what I want, but I'm curious what everybody else is going to say. So let's do a poll. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. New poll. Let's say, I gotta pull the June back here so I can type on it. Which I get this out when spooky season approaches, because this is my Monster Fuzz with Fright Club on it. What keycaps for the capsule? We could say DCS Intro WOB. We could say MT New Susu. Or we could say GMK 1520. And we'll run that. If you have an opinion, throw it in now. We could also look at 1520 if you're unfamiliar with it. It's a WOB set essentially, but it's got like yellow mod accents, nice cyan sublegends, stuff like that. Blind reaction voting here. Do it, man. We got one vote for 1520. I do have the right to veto if I feel like I want to do something different at the end. Again, we got MT New Susu. We've got DCS WOB with a big ass enter. We've also got GMK 1520. Then why vote? I'm trying to give you the full American experience. Voting and it not making any difference. I'm kidding. I mean, not about the terrible state of American politics, but we will honor the vote. We will honor the results of the vote. I do need to find something else to put MT New on so that Tyler can try it, because you said you hadn't tried MT New yet, had you? Before the event, we can find something to put it on. And we all regret what we voted for. Actually, I'm curious how these yellows are going to go together. It is definitely a brighter yellow. A little more mustardy. We'll give it a go. Can't remember why these ones are in a separate bag. These might have been on a board. Then I took them off for some reason. There we go, 3 votes for 1520. We'll do it. Although we could also do... I have a big ass enter in the same black, but it doesn't use the mod yellow, so it might not look quite right. So let's build it normally first. And what all do we have down here? I'm trying to remember what this was even on originally. Okay, we can't use stepped caps, because unfortunately this keyboard is dumb in its layout choices. And 0. Oh man, that sounds way better than the foamed up FR4. Well, this must have been on the Monospace, because why else would I have numpad stuff out? You're doing a full-size backspace? What a monster. I have to. It's not my choice. That's the only layout this board supports. It wasn't until after I bought this board years ago that I realized split backspace supremacy. I am ashamed. Function. That is from the numpad as well. ERTYUI. I always go for split now when I can. When it's available. We'll go. I'll take whatever punishment you deem necessary for using a full backspace. ZXCVB. Delete. RTIOP. Alright, I think my work machine's back to where I'm going to hang with the fam. Good luck with the rest of the team. Thanks so much, Reggie. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Let me see what all is in here. Have fun with the fam. Glad your machine is recovered. There's full caps lock. Maybe I will check out the big S enter, which I think I have. In my cupboard. My cupboard of secrets. I got a couple different versions. Although this would be closest to the style with icon and text. But all the other mods in 1520 have the yellow legends. So it would be a little bit off, but not drastically so. So what I might do, I don't know how this would feel with having the spring weight of 2-hole switches, so maybe what we'll do is we'll take this one out and just use the stabilizers of the bottom one and the switch of the top one, and then we can remap it after the fact. Big S enter is so dumb. I love it. And don't have that. That is from the numpad. That is from the numpad. That is from the numpad. Numpad. You. Ooh, these alphas are so much better. It's wild. Ditching all that foam was a huge help. DFGH. Still got a little bit of that. I think it might be. If I push too hard, I can definitely hear it bottoming out inside. So we'll just take it easy on that front. Ba, 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 ba. Oops. Oh, these are in the wrong place. There's something's off here. Can't use that. Let's see, I need to keep track of some of these for the column. Don't need number lock. 7. Oh wait, I do need... What am I thinking? I do need the arrow keys, of course. Don't think there's an alternate version in here. They all have the sub-legends, correct? Ooh, there is a windowed full steps caps. I didn't realize that. I don't remember if this has LEDs in it or not. I don't think so. I'm trying to think. No, we'll keep it as is, because this one is die sub and the yellow is slightly different. So we'll keep that as is. Oh, sorry, I'm distracted. Maybe we'll also mix it up with a little bit of Hollow Knight as well. When did that get scratched? What a scratch on there. Make sure I didn't miss a... Ah, I did. I did miss an arrow. I've been incredibly addicted to Hades 2 again. Hades 2 is very good. I paused Hollow Knight for or Silk Song for a bit to dive in, and it has been quite a treat so far. I've only played a tiny bit, but yeah, I never played any of the early access because I wanted to save it and get the full 1.0 experience. It has not disappointed. Nice. All right, let's get the rest of the pieces that we need. What's your favorite weapon so far? I've only gotten 3 of them, like the starting staff, and then like the knives or the smaller blades, and then I just got the axe. Pretty recently, or the last time I played. So I haven't even gotten the full breadth of what's available. Alright, let's put the spacebar away. And I totally forgot this had a gray function row. Interesting. Actually, I don't remember where everything goes back in here, so maybe we might just keep some of this stuff in the bag. Yeah, we'll do that. When it first came out, the axe was my fave, but I've been really liking the blades. I do like the blades too. I like the cast for the blades. Is that the thrown weapon? There's one you don't have that is extremely broken aspect. It's very wacky. Oh, the special, that's right. Cast is when you do like the hex on the ground or whatever. That slows people down and stuff. The area of effect. You made the blades way better. Nice. Nice. Well, I still didn't get the right arrow. That's still in the bag somewhere. We'll fish that out momentarily. System function. Where we need our short shift. And figure out the rest of the column. So there's another arrow in here that I locked up. In the beta, the special didn't have the boomerang effect where it comes back to you. Oh, that's like my favorite part. That's an end, but it's not row 4. Ah, there we go. Yeah, they were kind of stinky. All right, so I need... Oh, wait, that's the wrong row. That's a row 1 page up. So I need row 2 page up, which is here. And a row 3 page down. And a row 4 end, which is right here. Let's chuck some of these back up in here. Cool. Let's see how it is kind of run into the side there. So maybe not for right now, but maybe we'll throw on another black and gold, the James Webb Space Telescope for our escape. Let's check the switch back where it goes. And I also, in Hades, just recently got, or Hades 2, got to the part where I realized what the other path was for. It's like, I've been going down, and then the other one was awarded. I was like, oh no, this is interesting. I have not broken the ward yet, but I think I know what's going on. Yeah. That really would help break up the roguelite monotony, I imagine. Let's go here. Okay, put these with the stabies. desk here a little bit. All right, let's see. Let's see what we got. Oh, it looks nice. Thank you so much, Frederick. The Pixelspace Capsule, a kind of a funky rounded wedge. It's got kind of this gunmetal back with a, well, we'll plug it in a second, but it's got the little LED that'll come up here with a GMK 1520 and a big ass enter on it. It is a lot like Boop in its form factor. We got our little Hebe James Webb Space Telescope artisan right there, which is very fun. And this is using HMX KD200 switches, part of their film series, on a custom polycarbonate plate. Only PE foam, no plate foam, no case foam. It is a 1.2 mil flex cut PCB. They are pretty loud. I could tell when I just put them in and was just testing the stems. Yeah, and I do need to take it a little easy with the flexiness of this. Like, I can feel that it's almost bottoming out. So it might benefit from putting the case foam back in the bottom just to help prevent some of that. And I do like the sound. I wouldn't mind a little bit of volume reduction, honestly. But I do like the sound on PC. It sounds better than most of the other things I tried on the F4 plate that it came with. Let's see, we got a little bit of time. Just gotta remember where all the screws are. There's one. And there's one. FR4's buzz. No joke. The first and last time I will ever get a PC, or not a PC, an FR4 plate. And is it over here under the function? Oh yeah, it's right by the divider. There's another one over here somewhere. Boy, this pulling these keycaps up sure is doo-doo without one of Reggie's keycap pullers. I know he's gone, but maybe he'll watch the VOD. Whoa, I took that one clean out. Let's see if we can get it back in without. All right. Then we can cut down on the sound, or the volume a little bit, and also not bottom out our sockets. That would be preferable. Actually, let me take out tab as well. Oh. Go back to music while we do this. You're not just hearing me breathing and whatever street sounds are coming in through my open window. Come on. There we go. I'm going to keep that JST attached in the top. Although, That'll be okay. Goes like this. There we go. Just cushion around those sockets a little bit. Make sure everything is back and seated. Yeah, let's cut down a tiny bit. But I'm more so just to protect the bottom case from scratches or breaking a socket or something stupid. One of the reasons I don't care for flex cuts. I never need that much flexibility in my life. I'm always more concerned about sound than about feel, typically. At least when it comes to flexibility. A switch feel, keycap feel, absolutely. But like the flexiness of the board has never really mattered much to me. In the grand scheme. Controversially, I like firm boards. Top mount. Oh yeah, I know you're a top mount fan. And I tend to like it firmer as well, I think. I like my keyboards like I like my mattresses. Which is not something I had anticipated saying. But I like a firmer mattress. I like sleeping on the floor even. If the bed is squishy, you never do. Nobody expects people to talk about beds. But yeah, like it's always a crapshoot. Like going to a hotel or something. It's like, is this bed going to be so squishy that I can't sleep? Because I almost invariably like start like sleeping and then I like end up folding, like the middle of myself is disappearing and I end up like folded and it really hurts my lower back. Don't like it. Hate really soft beds, yeah. No good for me. Okay. Let's try this again. I dig it. Parents' guest bed is like that. Hey, so is my in-laws' guest bedroom is like that. So I always sleep like shit when I visit them. Let's see. Turn down that gain slightly. Make sure this LED is still working. Uh-oh. Is the keyboard working? It is working, just not the LED. Maybe I turn it off. Let's crack open. Oh yeah, that's right. Arc. I need Arc. The only Chromium browser I have currently. And I need Chromium to run via. All right, let's remap this to enter, first off. And then let's look at our lighting. Lighting, set to solid color. Oh, there we go. I just had to turn it off and on again. I don't know how well that's going to show up. We got a little purple light to be like the Playdate. If I turn off one or both of my lights here, it'll show up a little bit better. Ooh, moody. There we go. Little LED. I think it's also it's the caps lock indicator as well, which is kind of fun. It's a nice little touch. Although according to VIA, this is cyan and not purple. But I remember just futzing with it until it got to the point where it looked correct here, no matter what VIA said. But yeah, there we go. The Pixelspace Capsule. This sounds just so much better than it ever sounded before when I first got it. And then I like built it and I was like, this sounds kind of sucky. And then it went back in the box and stayed there for like, I think it made an appearance 2 years ago at my last co-working keyboard thing. And then it went right back in the box afterward. I was like, I'll show it off. And then it's going away because I don't like typing on it. But and now I have this map to enter. So that's good. So I am in business for actual usage on this thing. And I don't mind that it doesn't have the yellow mod text on it because it's, you know, there's white in here too. It kind of blends in. I think it works, and it's kind of an abomination on its own. What does the plate do for the sound? A lot, in my experience. It does a lot for both feel and sound. So like what I usually enjoy the most has been polycarbonate over the past while. Tyler may have even more insight into some of those differences. But like by and large, plastic plates are going to sound a little bit quieter than metal for the most part, just due to their material makeup, and they're absorbing some of that sound and vibration. And they're also more flexible than metal plates. So, like I don't remember the full spectrum of softness, but you know, at the lower ends are like polyoxymethylene and polypropylene. And then you have like polycarbonate, you have PEI and ultem kind of in there. You get into the metal plates and you have things like aluminum and brass. You can get carbon fiber. It's really hard to explain without using made up words. Yeah, exactly. You hear like thock and clack and blah, 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 blah. I find in more normal terms, I would say that in my experience, metal plates tend to sound higher pitched. Just putting it in terms of like more objective acoustics. And plastic plates, in my experience, tend to have a lower pitch and can be more resonant sometimes. Or allow more resonance to occur, depending. And some people might term that as being thocky. And then clacky is often more associated with like higher pitched type stuff. But there's also sometimes more of a roundness to sound that I think the plastic plates can lend. That's hard to describe. Some people describe that as being marbly, which is also one of the jobs that the PE foam, that one sheet that I put down, is supposed to do as well, which kind of rounds out the sound. It maybe makes it less abrasive. But honestly, although Alex has me questioning my existence sometimes when he says PP is deep, because I have always thought it was the clackiest plastic plate. It has been kind of clacky for me. I have not had a deep PP experience. Don't clip that. I feel like I just need to say the whole thing every time. Polypropylene. Polypropylene. A deep polypropylene experience. Using PP right now and it is not deep. Yeah. So, I mean, there is definitely some subjectivity to it and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And everyone hears sounds slightly differently and processes that information. And with something that's subjective, it's hard to put any kind of objective shared terminology to it. You know, anyway. But that's part of the fun of the hobby, I think, too, is like figuring out how to communicate things in ways that people can come to an agreement on. But I like this with PC quite a bit, and I think this is in a good spot to bring next month, which starts tomorrow. Jeez, it's the end of September already. I mean, I never put deep switches on one, to be fair, but with MX Blacks or whatever, it sounds very clacky. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's true to your question, Frederick, about plate changing sound. Like, there's so many variables because of, like, the case build and material, the plate material, whatever, the switches you're using and their material, like everything is interplaying. The keycap profile can also be wild, like if you have like a very high cylindrical type thing or spherical thing. Mounting style is the biggest, do you think, for plates? Yeah, that's true. That could be. I've definitely found that to be true with plates or keyboards I've had with multiple mounting styles and switching between them. Like when I've done different things with the Sonnet or the Mode 80 in the past. Yeah, because that determines sometimes how much vibration and sound isolation you get. Like if it's top mount, as Tyler's talked about, like it's attached to the top of the case, there's a lot more resonance potentially happening or a lot more space that's not isolated in the same way as it would be with like a gasket mount or something like that. But yeah, if you top mount a metal plate, it would sound way different. But all that to say, love this. I could talk about keyboard materials and acoustics all day, but I have a family that I need to get back to who will start to wonder what has happened. Daddy's talking about keyboard materials again. But thanks for being here. This was a fantastic stream. I love where we ended up here. Let me get rid of Via. Don't need that open anymore. And who is streaming right now? Who could we raid? Anybody? Kim. Oh, Kim is baking some brownookies? DPP experience stream. That is an OnlyFans thing, I think. I got a few people that I follow, but they're streaming video games right now. Let's raid Kim. Ba, ba, ba. Let me cha. Raid channel. Ba, 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 ba. All right, let's do it. I haven't used the raid panel in the little Twitch guide thing here, so let's see how that goes. Start raid. All right, there we go. Thanks, folks. Love ya. I won't be back next week, but we'll stream again soon. Bye!